Howdy ho, my crafty friends. Welcome to the Ladybug Journals. This is Lori, and I would like to take this opportunity to welcome everybody, all of our new subscribers and all of our current subscribers. A great big happy welcome to you, and especially want to thank you for all of your kind comments. Thank you. You guys have made my week, because over the last couple of days I have gotten such kind and wonderful comments from you, and I wanted to say that first before I did anything else. Thank you. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So now let's have some fun. What I thought we would start is a vintage journal. So what you see here with my mess is I have some lace, now this is not vintage, it's reproduction, of course. I found it at a local Joann's, but this is vintage, as well as this one. I found this at a second-hand shop, and I think this is the front right here. And I'm going to use this on our cover, but I have to press it down before we can use it, and it's quite lovely. This one is going to get sewed into a page, and I also have to kind of press it down a little bit. But this is going to be part of our cover. This fabric here, I just thought was the coolest looking fabric. You know, it's not my normal fabric I would pick this time of year. Normally I'd be picking butterflies and, you know, spring flowers. So for me to pick something like this, I was having an oddball day. But I found in my fabric stash one of my favorite pieces of fabric. And it is this. I love this fabric. And when it very first came out years ago, I bought a couple of yards of it, and I've been hoarding it. Do you guys hoard fabric? I do. I do terribly. And a couple of years ago, when I did a fabric destash, I only have a little bit of this left, but I want you to see the gold in it. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. But it looks like bubbles. I think it looks like bubbles. Browns and darker browns, and then the little gold. See the gold? I don't know if you can see it, but to me it always looked like bubbles, and I just loved it. But it matches this fabric very well. I was going to use this fabric on the inside and the outside. Sounds like I'm making a Fig Newton, doesn't it? But then I found this and I thought, ooh, I like this so much better. So now that I'm looking at it, I can't decide which one I want to use on the outside, because I really like this one. So, but this is the book we're going to use. Let me move this here. That's our spine. And it is a very old book, Old Peter's Russian Tales. And I pulled the book block out, and it's from the early 1940s. And this book has been through it, let me tell you. Up here, I don't know if you can see that. It's actually torn, and then down here it's torn. So I've been trying to be very careful with it, because I don't want to tear it anymore. Now, if it did tear, it's not that big a deal. I could always repair it. You know, I'm not against repairing it. You know, I could cut it off, put a whole new spine on it, which is what we're going to do. We're going to reinforce this one. And I did take a damp rag and make sure all the dust was off of it, because it's been in my book stash. You know, I did make sure all the dust and stuff was off of it. But that's all I've done to it, because I wasn't that concerned about cleaning it, because I'm going to cover it. And the more I look at it, the more I think maybe I don't want to cover it all the way, because this is about as vintage as you get from the 40s. But I really don't like the title being, you know, bright red in the middle. So, but that was the only thing I didn't like about it. Other than that, you know, it looks like it's, you know, just drawn and then stamped on this fabric, but I think we are going to cover it. So I I just have to decide. I think I want to put this on the front, and I've been kind of playing around because it's going to have a lot of lace on it. Like this is going to be on the edge. This, I'm thinking about putting this on it. Like I said, it's going to have to be, this will have to be pressed down. So I was thinking of putting this across the spine. I got to find the spine here. This will go across the spine, and then something to go right down the middle of it. So only half of this. Let me show you what it'll look like here. Let me stick this in the spine to give it a little bit of support so I don't rip it. So if the book is like this, you know, my spine's in there, and my fabric is wrapped around like this. This old crochet piece would go like this. It would wrap like that. Just like that. And then something else would come down the middle of it. Right here. You know, right here. So it wouldn't have this big white spot. But then you would still see this lovely crochet area up here. And I was thinking I wanted this lace. But now that I see the lace, I think it's too much. I think this is enough. If I use that. If I use this. I may not. I may change my mind completely and use something else. I did find this beautiful lace fabric. This gorgeous lace fabric that was on sale. Oh, I mean, isn't that just stunning? Can you tell I like lace? And it's so soft. This was on clearance from the wedding area because it was the very last piece of it, and it was only a yard of it. So I had even thought about, you know, covering the whole thing with that. And like this. Just covering it and then putting lace on the edge. But the more I think about a big bulky lace on the edge, the more I think, I don't think I like that. Because it's going to be a mess to deal with. But I do kind of like it across it. So I don't know. So, you know, it's going to be one of those as the book gets worked on and it starts taking on its personality. That's when we're going to know. And as I'm talking about personality, this is going on the inside. I think this will be fun on the inside. So let's get our fabric down. So let's move this off to the side here. And I need to reach down below me, right here at my feet, and get, oh, come here, you. There we go. I want to put the book up on here for gluing. And I want to center it on the fabric. So I'm going to, now luckily this fabric doesn't have an up or down. So I want to, and I should have pressed it. That's what I should have done. I should have pressed it off because that little fold right there is going to make me crazy. Even though it doesn't really matter because it will straighten out. It's just going to make me crazy. Okay. So let's center the book on the fabric. And top to bottom and side to side is what I'm centering here. Well, I'm trying. And I'm flattening it out. And I want to get this straight. And I need to sit straight to it so I can see. That's why it looks cockeyed. These pages are still there. That's why it looks so odd. All right, so let me get my scissors here. And let's cut these pages off right here. I'm just cutting right at the fold. I'm not cutting into the book or anything. I'm just cutting right here at the fold. Because I'm going to glue that one area down. There we go. Yeah, I'm going to save those books. This is going to get glued down. It's going to get glued back in there. So let's get that out of there. Let's see. Does that need... Oh, that needs to come out. Before we get to gluing anything here, hold on here. We need to clean this off here a little bit. There we go. Now it's going to lay flat. Okay. That's better. Okay. Now let's get our fabric up here. And let's get it up here. And I want to make sure I have, more than anything, I want to make sure I have enough to go over my top and bottom edges. And let's grab our glue right here, and my brush right here, and I might need a little bit more of that. So I think I'll use my gel matte medium today. I think it's what I'll use because I know it's a nice soft body and it won't bleed through my fabric on the front. Okay, so let's turn our book over. Now, I'm going to do one section at a time. I'm going to start down the center, and then I'm going to do the front, and then I'm going to do the back. Okay. So, I'm going to start in the middle. Now, I am going to stand up here real quick and make sure you guys can see me. Yep, you can see. Okay, good. I need to move my cover decorations out of the way. And I'm falling off my chair. If you all hear a whoop, you'll know it's me just falling off the chair. Okay. I want to make sure it's spread out well and get it all the way into the there we go. Now I like using gel matte medium for fabric because it doesn't bleed through my fabric. Okay, so I'm going to put this, oops, let's get that off of there. Put this right back down and pull my fabric nice and taut and push this down. Now let's make sure I got it where I want it. And push it down. Okay, I'm going to flip it over. And I'm taking just the long end here. I'm just taking the long end of my bone folder and I'm running it right down into there to make sure that everything gets where it's supposed to be. And you'll see here when I fold it, that's why, because I want it down in there really well. So I want it all the way down, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to lift up the back portion all the way up to where I was, and I'm going to keep my fabric straight. Nothing worse than, you know, you get your fabric ready to come down and all of a sudden you've got it wampadoodled, especially if your fabric has a pattern. Yeah, you need to really make sure that you keep your fabric straight if you have a pattern. Okay, and since I'm taking this over the top, I got to make sure I get my top edges. And this fabric will protect my top edges too, and my bottom edges. Remember I showed you they were worn a little bit. So it will protect them from any more wear and tear. Now, if you choose, now this, and it's completely up to you. You can, after you've put on your if you're going to put paper on your cover, to protect your paper, after your glue, now your glue has to be completely dry, okay? It has to be dry. And I know other creatives are going to say, you can do it anytime you choose. I have found it works the best if you wait until your glue that you've adhered it down with is completely dry. That's just my opinion. Okay? That's just my opinion. Once your glue that you've adhered it down with is completely dry, go over the top of it with Mod Podge or some more of your matte medium, and especially if you're using paper, and that will protect your paper, you know, from wear and tear, and it kind of seals it a little bit. But you know, that's up to you. And if you do it in light layers, it doesn't feel sticky. You know, everybody says it feels sticky, it dries sticky. Do it in light layers. Don't do it in heavy layers. Do a light layer, let it dry, and then do another light layer. And what I mean by dry is let it dry overnight completely. Let it dry overnight. You have to let it dry overnight. You can't just let it dry an hour. You have to let it dry overnight. And then come back and do another layer. And let that layer dry overnight. And I have found that it doesn't dry sticky that way. But if you try to do it, you know, 5 layers all at one time, it takes days to dry. And it'll always be sticky. Always. Because it doesn't ever have a chance really to dry. So, light layers, let them dry 100% in between, and you shouldn't have any dry problems. But that's just my personal opinion, and everybody has them. So you know, try it and see which works best for you. Okay, so I've got my front down. Now I'm gonna do the inside. So I'm gonna put my brush up here, and okay, I've got plenty here. Now, before I do my corners, as you can see, this side's really long. I don't need it that long. That side's okay. That side's a little long. So I'm going to trim this side down to, let me see here, how far. Oh, golly, I am in pretty far. Okay. Okay, I trimmed it. Sorry, you guys. I can't trim straight and talk. I just can't do it. And now I'm going to, yeah, I need to trim out my corners here a little bit. So I do the square corners. I go over, and then I come down. I know, it's the long way around, but it works best for me. There. I do this little square corner deal. I do this. I just cut out a little square. Just like that. Okay? So I cut over. And I just let my blade stop right before the edge of the book. And then I cut down. And then that last little thread is right, whoops, missed that last little thread again. That last little thread is right there. Okay. And then I do the top first. So I'm going to take this again and I'm going to run it across the top. And I'm going to run it right here. Make sure I get the top. And bring it across. And I want to put some right underneath here so this glues down. Okay. I want to get this glued down in here. So we're going to glue that down. And I'm going to come all the way across. Just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take my fabric and I'm going to pull up snug. Just like that. And I'll deal with anything that's in the way here in a minute, but I want to get my fabric down first. Make sure everything's where it needs to be. Okay? There. Now I'm going to do the bottom the exact same way. Oops. Get up there. So the bottom is going to be the exact same way. Let's see. Is it too high? It should be all right. So I'm going to cut out my little corners. And if you can do the little swoopty-whoopty, you do the little swoopty-whoopty. Every time I try the little swoopty-whoopty, I don't get it cut right. I end up cutting wrong. And we will end up putting protective corners on our book because the corners of our book, you know, somebody loved this book. Let me tell you, somebody showed this book some serious loving because the corners of the book and everything else they're worn and they're tattered. And so somebody really, really spent some time with this book. Okay, so I want to make sure that there's some glue in there. We're going to come all the way across here. You know, when I say someone showed it some love, it's a Southern thing. That just means that they really, really liked it. There we go. Okay, now we're going to do the same on the bottom. We're going to bring our fabric up nice and taut. Just like this. And I do need to put a little bit more glue in there. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to run it right under the area that I missed. Just like that. Any areas that I missed on the glue, there. I'm gonna bring it up. And then with this, I'm gonna lift my book up. And I'm gonna make sure that it's down in that crease on both sides. Okay. You go down where you belong now. Slip this side up. There we go. Now we're going to do the same thing on this side, except for where we cut this out, this is going to come over and cover that up. Okay? So, we're going to come up. I see this little piece right here is sticking up, so I can just come right here and nick it off. There we go. Now I'm going to pull this snug. I want it snug, but I don't want it so tight that it's bowing anything. Okay. Now let's put those little squares over there in my little trash bin. And we're going to do the same thing over here. And here's a little piece right here. Right there. All the way down. Okay, now let's pick it up, snug it up, and bring it over. There, couldn't be any easier than that. Now, you see this little piece that I missed right here? Before I snug it down, I'm going to cut it straight across because I don't want anything hanging out. There we go. Now, take your bone folder, make sure everything's laying flat on your edges. Make sure everything's laying flat here. Okay? Looking good so far. Looking great. Okay, see? Here's what I mean by right here. I didn't cut that right. But that'll be covered when I put in my corners here in a minute. That'll be covered. Okay, so now we're going to put this piece in. Okay? Now I cut these pieces the exact same because I knew I was going to need to trim them. And I don't want them to go all the way to the top. I want some of that top to show. So in order to make this piece lay the way I want it to, let's see, I'm right-handed. Let's start on the right. Since I'm right-handed, we're going to start over here on the right. I think that'll make it easier on me and on you because then you won't be looking at my arms. Okay. Now, I want to include this, okay? This is my spine, and I want it covered the exact same, with this exact same fabric. Now, I do have more, but I'm thinking once I cut this off, there'll be plenty. So, I want this over here a little bit more. Over and up over here. And I'm just going to take it all the way across is what I want to do. Okay, you're not straight. Oh, I bet my fabric's not straight. That's probably it. Well, we'll take care of that, I think, with some lace. Must not have been cut straight at Joann's. All right, let's see, because that's going to make me crazy. That's just going to make me crazy. No, it isn't. So let's make it straight real quick. Let's make it straight. No, it is not straight. Oh my gracious, that is not straight, is it? Holy guacamole! All right, where's my little, here it is. And I am going to use this blade. I think I need a new blade. There it goes. Helps if you push down, Lori. Big ding dong. There. That's better. Okay. Much better. Okay, now let's start over here. All right, I don't want that much. I want it to go right here. Okay. Now I'm kind of doing the same thing as what I did on the front. I'm doing one section at a time, except I'm not starting this time with the middle. I'm doing the right side first, and I'm working my way to the middle. And I'm making sure that I have plenty of glue here. And if I don't have plenty on the edges, I can always add some. But in the middle, that's the hard part. All right, so I'm going to line up my edge where I want it. Right there. Now I want to make sure it's up far enough for my corner to catch it. Right there. Okay. And smooth it straight down. Just like that. Okay, as you can see, I don't have enough over here, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. So I'm going to turn my book this way. Okay, buddy, hold on just a second. And I'm going to go right down the middle. I hear you, buddy. Hold on a second. What? You hungry? Okay. Let's do the middle. Okay, you guys, I'm going to have to take a quick break because the boys are waiting for me to feed them. But I will be right back. I will be right back. Okay. Okay, so let's finish up here. All right, so we have one more section to do. We have this section here. So we're going to continue on right here. Just like this. Now you can, to protect your fabric on the front if you choose, you can even put a layer of your Mod Podge on your fabric. You know, if you add lace or something, and you decide that you want to use Mod Podge to add it, that will protect your fabric also. Just remember, just like before, let it dry between layers so that it doesn't feel sticky. Oh, I really like that, you guys. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like, and you're thinking, yeah, but you got it all hanging off the ends. Yeah, I'm going to take care of it, silly sillies. All right, so we're going to trim it right here. So I'm going to use this as a little iron. And go just like this. Make myself a little seam. How about we get this out from underneath me right now. I'll go all the way down. And then I'm going to do the same at the bottom. I'm going to pull this up right where I want it to come off. But I want to make sure that I'm leaving enough that it's going to catch with my with my corners. Right there. And I'm just using my bone folder, you know, as a little iron, pushing it down because it's got a little bit of moisture in it, you know, from the glue that we just used. All the way across, just like that. And I know you're thinking, what in the world? Yeah, but watch this. Now I'm going to stick my ruler under here. Just like this. Sticking my ruler under. I'm going to take my silly ruler. You didn't stay put. I'm going to take my scissors. And I'm going to cut across the long seam first. And you need to do this very slowly and very carefully. And don't use your scissors that are full of glue. You know, clean your scissors off. Or use a pair of fabric scissors or anything that's not covered in glue. Because you need something that's good and sharp that you have nice control over. So if you only have one pair of scissors, that's fine. But take them someplace and wash them with some good soap and water. Get all the glue off of them. Okay, now follow your little seam all the way across. Just like that. Now I'm going to do it over here too. Okay. And I'm going to pull it up. And I'm going to cut this one off. Now, your glue is probably still a little damp enough that you can, you know, pull it up, pull your little pieces of fabric up if you need to. There, just like that, just like I did. And then you can take this and put up underneath it and glue it back in place like I'm doing right now. This dries clear, so anything you get on your fabric, there. As long as you're not dropping the entire bottle on your fabric, it's going to dry clear. There. So now I'm going to go around the bottom here. And I'm going to completely go across the bottom. Because I know I didn't come all the way down. Just like this. I'm coming all the way across the bottom. And making sure that I got everything sealed down well. And again, I'm going to use my bone folder in the middle. Use your fingers if you have to. Okay. Now, it did come through a little bit right there because I had a big blob on my brush. But it'll be all right. It's going to get covered. That's the piece I already did. Okay, so here's our cover. Here's the inside. And there's the outside. Oh, yeah, I'm really going to like it. And here's our thing. Now, I do have enough to cover this, but I don't have enough to completely, let's see, wrap around right now. So I will cut another piece. Oh, maybe I do. Maybe I do. Now this was the same size as the little green journal that we made. No, I would rather cut another piece of fabric because I want this covered completely to fit in here. And you can see now how it fits. It fits completely right there. Just like that. Okay. Okay. So that's going to get covered with fabric. And then what I'll do is I'll cover, now you could cover it with paper if you wanted because you're really not going to see much of it. I'll cover the front first. And then what I'll do is I'll turn it over and I'll punch the holes back through the front of the fabric so that I know where the holes are that I've already designated on here. That way I won't lose them. So let me show you what I mean by that. So my fabric, oh, here it is. So whatever piece of fabric that I choose, and I have both of them. I have a little piece, let's see here. Do I have a little piece of the brown? Let's see here. Yeah, this is all I have left of the brown. So we might as well use it instead of hoard it, huh? So let's see, what do we have here? Is that long enough? Let's just cut it right here at this fold. Because what's left of this fold maybe we'll use for a pocket, or I'll make something. Almost cut my finger, didn't I? All right, so we'll put that away. Okay, so what I'm talking about is I'm going to put this down here. Now I'm going to give myself enough room that I want to wrap it around, you know, around the top like that. Now I also want to put up here, see, I haven't glued that yet. I want to put the little things up there, the little headbands. And I want to use for them, and I know it's very out of the ordinary, but I want to use a little piece of this. You all didn't think I was ordinary, did you? And I want to use a piece of this. Just like this. So before I can do that, though, I need to glue these headbands on. So hold on a second. Now headbands are just decorative pieces. They serve absolutely no purpose. I just like them. I just think they're fun. Okay. And in this journal, it's just going to be vintage fun. Okay. Come on, don't stick to my fingers now. Quit it. Now, the reason I'm using Fabri-Tac instead of the other is I don't think the other would hold this lace down. And I can very easily wash my, there. Let's see. Yep. See, that's what it's going to look like. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. So I'm going to pull this up here at the bottom. And I'm going to put a little thing of glue across the bottom. Put that in right there. Come on, glue. Come on. And then pull this back down. There. And there's the bottom one. Right there. And there's the top. Okay. So now we're going to let those sit aside over there. Now, for this, I am not going to use my matte medium because it's not going to hold this. I am going to use my Fabri-Tac. And I'm going to go around the edges. I'm not going to go over the holes. Okay. Hold on a second, guys. Somebody is pounding on that front door. I am so sorry. Okay. And then I'm going to lay this down. Okay. Okay, I just spread that glue out that I put on here. Now, before I bring this all around, I'm going to trim this down. And it doesn't matter that it's a little crooked. And it doesn't have to wrap completely all the way around it either. And your spine could be wrapped in anything. It doesn't have to be wrapped in anything. I could have put it underneath the fabric that we put in the middle. I just like mine different. It could be paper. It could be lace. It could be anything you wanted. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, let's put that in there. I'm going to take my awl, and from this side, I'm going to punch my holes through my fabric like this. And I'm going to make my holes a little bit bigger, but that'll get my holes started in my fabric so that I'm ready when I glue this down. I won't lose them, and they'll already be there. See what I'm doing? I'm just poking them through. Now, this works really well if you are making a hidden spine. And that was my original idea with this book, a hidden spine. And I may still do that. I'm not really sure if I want to do a hidden spine on it. Yeah, PJ says he doesn't know either. Or if I want to put them through the book. It depends on, I think, if I put that lace on it. Whew, that one is not straight, is it? That is not straight. That middle one's wampadoodled. Good thing the fabric doesn't stay. Okay, so what you do now is you take this and you do exactly like a present. And what I do is I take my corners in. Okay, now my corners are too big, of course. So these I do kind of round because, you know, I can handle these little ones. Like that. And then you put it at the top. Put your glue across the top. And make sure you get your edge right here. Now, when I do mine, I use the top of my actual book board to help me make sure it's flat. Okay, and then I do the bottom. And this is what I'm doing here. I'll show you. So I was waiting for the glue. I put the glue on the edge of the bottom and then a line right there. And then I stand it up and I roll it. And that makes sure that I have it across the bottom edge and that it's nice and flat. And then I do the same thing on my long edge. That's the exact same thing I do on my long ends. And then I'll roll it, lay it down. See? Now, the only difference between a hidden spine and a sewn-in spine is how you sew your signatures in. If we're going to make it a hidden spine, we don't sew the signatures through the book. We just sew them through this. If we're going to make it a sewn-in spine, through the book, then after we get this down, either way, this gets glued down. It doesn't matter. Either way, this gets glued in. The only difference is whether or not we sew our signatures through this in the book or just through this. That's the only difference in the two types. So right now, this is my top. So to help me remember that, because, it could go either way, I'm going to take a great big yellow paper clip and I'm going to put it on the top right. That tells me this is my top. Otherwise, I'll forget. Because it could go any direction and, I could have my papers in upside down. Okay. So we've got our book covered. Now, all we have to do is let it dry. And then we can start doing everything else. We can get our signature sewn in the next time. And we can decide how we're going to decorate it on the front. And how we're going to do those. Are we going to sew them in through the book? Are we going to use our lace on it? Or what are we going to do? So that'll give me some time to play around with things and kind of try to decide what we're going to do. And I've already got the signatures made up. Somewhere they're made up. Oh, here they are. Here are the signatures. They're made up and they're ready to go. So, it's all a matter of deciding, how much lace do we want to put on them. And I want a lot of lace. I've already got lace on one of them sticking out right here. So I think I want more. I want some more lace on some more pages. And looks like this needs trimmed off a little bit. So good. So I'm glad I checked on that. I don't mind that they're too wide here because of all the lace that's going to get them. But I didn't realize they were a little bit too tall. All right, so we need to trim these for height. Or maybe that's just... Nope, we need to trim them for height. We need to trim them off here a little bit. So I'll get them trimmed. And then the next time I see you guys in our next video, we will start sewing in our signatures. And maybe we'll go on and even get our front decorated. And we'll start having some fun with some of the ephemera. So we'll get some ephemera made. And then we'll start pulling out all these little bits of lace and fabric that we've been saving. And here's some of the fabric that we saved from today. So we'll use it. And we might even use my stash of this and maybe make some pockets. So until I see you again in our next video, thank you again. I'm Lori at the Ladybug Journals. Please come back and see me. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'd love for you to come back and play and see how our journal gets going. And you know how to do it. There's that little bell right below us. So till I see you again, ta-ta for now.